This video is about the famous people and celebrities who passed away in 1990 in the United States. This is the first episode. Before we proceed, please subscribe to our channel to support us. Arthur Kennedy, he was born in February 1914 and he died in January 1990. His age was 75 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was brain tumor. Arthur Kennedy was an American stage and film actor known for his versatility in supporting film roles and his ability to create an exceptional honesty and naturalness on stage, especially in the original casts of Arthur Miller plays on Broadway. He won the 1949 Tony Award for Best Featured Actor in a play for Miller's Death of a Salesman. He also won the Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor for the 1955 film Trial and was a 5-time Academy Award nominee. Kennedy moved to New York City and, billed as John Kennedy, joined the group theater. He then toured with Classical Repertory Company. In September 1937, he made his Broadway debut as Bushy in Morris Evans' Richard II at the St. James Theatre. In 1939, he played Sir Richard Vernon in Evans Henry's for Part 1. Kennedy's first film role was of James Cagney's younger brother. In City for Conquest in 1940, he appeared in many Western films and police dramas. Kennedy appeared in many notable films from the early 1940s through the mid-1960s. Alan Hale Jr. He was born in March 1921 and he died in January 1990. His age was 68 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was thymus cancer. Alan Hale was an American actor and restaurateur. He was the son of actor Alan Hale Sr. His television career spanned 4 decades, but he was best known for his secondary lead role as Captain Jonas Grumby, better known as the Skipper on the 1960s CBS comedy series Gilligan's Island from 1964 to 1967, a role he reprised 3 Gilligan's Island television films and 2 spin-off cartoon series. Hale appeared in more than 200 films and television roles from 1941. He appeared primarily in westerns, portraying the Sundance Kid in The Three Outlaws in 1956, opposite Neville Brent as Butch Cassidy, performing with Craig Douglas in The Big Trees in 1952. Eddie Murphy in Destroy in 1954, Ray Milland in A Man Alone in 1955, Robert Wagner in The True Story of Jesse James in 1957, and Hugh Marlowe in The Long Rope in 1961. He also appeared in musical comedies opposite Don DeFore in It Happened on Fifth Avenue in 1947, James Cagney in The West Point Story in 1950, and Judy Canova in Honey Chile in 1951. He also appeared on several talk and variety shows. Northern Calloway. He was born in September 1948 and he died in January 1990. His age was 41 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was an accident. Northern Calloway was an American actor and singer best known for playing on Sesame Street from 1971 to 1989. He was institutionalized in a psychiatric hospital and died less than 8 months after his last appearance on the show. Calloway graduated from New York City's High School of Performing Arts and joined the Lincoln Center Repertory Company in 1966. There he performed in A Midsummer Night's Dream and Three Musketeers. He played the lead in New Federal Theater production of the Louis Armstrong story. He became a Broadway stage actor in 1968, appearing in Tiger at the Gates and The Me Nobody Knows. In 1971, he joined the cast of Sesame Street during the show's 2nd season as the character David Robinson, boyfriend of the character Maria Rodriguez. Shortly after his termination from Sesame Street, Calloway was permanently placed into a mental institution called Stony Lodge Hospital, located in Ossining, New York. There he received treatment for bipolar disorder. On the afternoon of January 9, 1990, there was a violent altercation between Connery and a staff physician. He was then taken to Phelps Memorial Hospital in North Tarrytown, where he was pronounced dead at the age of 41. Rusty Hamer. He was born in February 1947 and he died in January 1990. His age was 42 at the time of his death and he took his own life. Rusty Hamer was an American stage, film, and television actor. He portrayed Rusty Williams, the wisecracking son of entertainer Danny Williams, on the ABC-CBS situation comedy Make Room for Daddy. From 1953 to 1964, he reprised the role in 3 reunion specials and the sequel series, Make Room for Granddaddy, which aired on ABC from 1970 to 1971. Due to his parents' involvement in community theater productions, Hamer and his brothers also began performing in stage productions. As a toddler, Hamer memorized and recited stories and performed skits for service club, luncheons, women's club, and church groups. In 1951, the Hamers moved to Los Angeles, where Arthur Hamer worked as a representative for a manufacturer of men's sports shirts. Shortly after arriving, Hamer's elder brother John was discovered by an agent while performing in a local stage production in which Rusty was also performing. The agent signed both boys to a film contract. The following year, Hamer won his first acting role in the 3D Western Fort Tie, starring George Montgomery and Joan Vos. Doc Edgerton. He was born in April 1903 and he died in January 1990. His age was 86 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Harold Doc Edgerton was an American scientist and researcher, a professor of electrical engineering at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He is largely credited in transforming the stroboscope from an obscure laboratory instrument into a common device. He also was deeply involved with the development of sonar and deep-sea photography, and his equipment was used in collaboration with Jacques Cousteau in searches for shipwrecks and even the Loch Ness Monster. In 1937, Edgerton began a lifelong association with photographer John Milley, who used stroboscopic equipment, in particular multiple studio electronic flash units, to produce photographs, many of which appeared in Life magazine. When taking multi-flash photographs, this strobe light equipment could flash up to 120 times a second. Edgerton was a pioneer in using short-duration electronic flash in photographing fast events photography, subsequently using the technique to capture images of balloons at different stages of their bursting, a bullet during its impact with an apple, or using multi-flash to track the motion of a devil's stick, for example. Lyle R. Wheeler. He was born in February 1905 and he died in January 1990. His age was 84 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was pneumonia. Lyle R. Wheeler was an Oscar-winning art director responsible for some of Hollywood's most iconic film sets. In a career spanning 40 years, Wheeler created sets for more than 350 motion pictures, many of which are considered film classics. His credits include A Star is Born, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, State Fair, The Dolly Sisters, Forever Amber, The Fan, The Pride of St. Louis, Titanic, The 7 Years Itch, and Carousel, in particular, Gone with the Wind, for which he drew some of the earliest examples of storyboards for film, illustrating not only the art design but framing, composing, and even the color for nearly every shot in the film, greatly influencing the production. He also created matte paintings for all the ceilings of the sets, as well as large set pieces like The Facade of Terror. He was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Production Design 29 times, winning 5. In 1951, he was nominated for 4 different films, 3 in 1952 and twice for 2 films in 1 year. His television credits include the long-running CBS series Perry Mason. Edward Isaac. He was born in December 1891 and he died in January 1990. His age was 98 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was congestive heart failure. Edward Isaac was a lieutenant in the United States Navy during the First World War and a Medal of Honor recipient. From 1937 to 1947, he served 5 terms as a representative from California. He was posted to the troop transport USS President Lincoln in 1918 when the ship was sunk by German submarine U-90. Taken as a prisoner of war and not letting his captors know that he spoke German, Isaac gathered intelligence on the submarine and its crew before being transferred to prison camps in Germany, from where he escaped in October 1918. At the time of his death in 1990, he was the last living Medal of Honor recipient from the First World War. Isaac died in his sleep of congestive heart failure on January 18, 1990. He was buried at Arlington National Cemetery in Arlington, Virginia. Arthur Goldberg. He was born in August 1908 and he died in January 1990. His age was 81 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart failure. Arthur Goldberg was an American statesman and jurist who served as the 9th United States Secretary of Labor and Associate Justice of Supreme Court of the United States and the 6th United States Ambassador to the United Nations. Born in Chicago, Illinois, Goldberg graduated from the Northwestern University School of Law in 1930. He became a prominent labor attorney and helped arrange the merger of the American Federation of Labor and the Congress of Industrial Organizations. During the Second World War, he served in the Office of Strategic Services, organizing European resistance to Nazi Germany. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy appointed Goldberg as the Secretary of Labor. During Vietnam War, he served in the Air Force Reserve. In 1962, Kennedy successfully nominated Goldberg to the Supreme Court to fill a vacancy created by the retirement of Felix Frankfurter. Goldberg aligned with the liberal bloc of justices and wrote the majority opinion in Escobedo versus Illinois. In 1965, Goldberg resigned from the bench to accept appointment by President Lyndon B. Johnson as the ambassador to the United Nations. Branko Nagurski. He was born in November 1908 and he died in January 1990. His age was 81 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was cardiac arrest. Branko Nagurski was a Canadian-American professional football player who was a fullback defensive tackle in the National Football League. Renowned for his strength and size, Nagurski was also a successful professional wrestler, recognized as a multiple-time world heavyweight champion. Nagurski became a college football standout, playing both tackle on defense and fullback on offense for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. From 1927 to 1929, selected a consensus All-American in 1929 and inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in its inaugural year of 1951. His professional career with the Chicago Bears, which began in 1930 and ended on 2 occasions in 1937 and 1943, also made him an inaugural inductee into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1963. On January 7, 1990, Nagurski died from cardiac arrest in International Falls, Minnesota, and is buried at its Forest Hill Cemetery. Spud Chandler. He was born in September 1907 and he died in January 1990. His age was 82 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Spud Chandler was an American professional baseball player who played in Major League Baseball as a right-handed starting pitcher and played his entire career for the New York Yankees from 1937 through 1947. He was named the American League's Most Valuable Player in 1943 after anchoring the team's pitching staff with 20 wins and only 4 losses as New York won its 3rd consecutive pennant. His 1.64 earned run average in that season was the lowest by any major league pitcher between 1920 and 1967 and remains a Yankees team record. In 11 seasons, he never suffered a losing record. With a total of 109 wins and 43 losses, his career winning percentage of .717 is the highest of any pitcher with at least 100 victories since 1876. Chandler later managed in the minor leagues, became pitching coach with Kansas City Athletics in 1957 and 1958, and scouted for several teams before retiring in 1984. He was inducted into Georgia Sports Hall of Fame in 1969 and into the Franklin County Sports Hall of Fame in 1997. He would later be inducted into the University of Georgia Ring of Honor in 2000. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.